जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरवनचारि यमुना तीरवनचारि जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर श्री राधे जय यशोदा दामोदर यशोदा दामोदर श्री राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा मास्य सुदर्शनम जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुदर्शन जय सुभद्रमा जय सुदर्शनम जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय पंच तत्वा जय पंच तत्वा जय पंच तत्वा जय पंच तत्वा जय षड गोस्वामी जय षड गोस्वामी जय षड गोस्वामी जय षड गोस्वामी जय गुरु परंपरा जय गुरु परंपरा जय गुरु परंपरा जय गुरु परंपरा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल नाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्रील गुरुदेव की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It was very nice to hear your Radhika Mataji's come.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to everybody.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna
Dandat
Mataji.
pranams.
Pranams Mataji to all.
Hare Krishna. I will be the speaker for the day. So I'll start. Hare Krishna. But I'm taking from the tab. Please mind. Usha Mataji, as usual, request you to share. So
Sure,
I'll start.
Mataji. Sure, my pleasure, Mataji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Okay, I'll start. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjalakalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamaya Dadati Swapatathikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatade Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivachadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Come on, everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama, Rama.
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna. So we were talking about what were we talking? What were we discussing? I know it's chapter 2.4, but what is it all about?
It is about creation, how creation started.
Okay. And specifically, what is happening in that whole lot? So, or maybe I'll rephrase my question. What are the two important qualities to go back to Godhead? Two, or rather, not even qualities, I would say two things which are favorable to go back to Godhead.
Devotional service.
Yeah, that's a must. But specifically, what are the two things which will aid you in devotional service?
Listening Bhagavatam from the spiritual, like who are in the parampara or.
Very nice. One is listening to Bhagavatams, right? For sadhana bhaktas, listening to Bhagavatam from authorized speaker, and
Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna.
always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. How does that help? I mean, how does that help? And what helps someone to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna?
Practicing.
How do we have natural level of practice? See, all
when,
this is.
When we know the Krishna, know all about Krishna, after that it can come.
So how do we get to know all about Krishna in the first place?
Through a spiritual master.
So that is one point, right? So that is later, after I grow. But when I'm born itself, I need something to guide me, right? So what can be favorable for me as soon as I'm born?
Krishna's mercy.
As I'm born, my past deeds.
Past deeds helps me to be born where?
Rich in a convenient family.
Excellent. So that is the point. That's the first point. Prapta punya krita klochan uchitva shashvata samaya suchiman shrimatam dege yogo brishto abhijayate. Suchiman shrimatam. So either in a transcendental family, like we saw previously also, right? Our Prabhupada, all of them had the advantage of transcendental family. Did Parikshit have a similar advantage or no?
Yes.
Yes. He was born in the imperial family, both Shrutiman and Srimatam. Right? They were absolute devotees, Pandavas, which is why Krishna saved him in the womb when Ashwatthama struck him right then with Brahmastra. because that was for him to experience the Shriman, right? That to be born, he was not only rich but also in a very transcendental. So he could experience that kind of feeling of bliss when he was born because the entire family was done. Now there is also there's a shloka in Kunti prayers, right? Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribir Edamanam Adapuman Neva Hatya Bivatum Vai Twama Kinchana Gocharam means what? Kunti prays, right? So what does it actually mean? What does it actually mean?
So those who are actually the opulents,
Huh.
they really are able to get Krishna. Only in adversity they are able to.
No, that is different. That is adversity shloka is different. Adversity shloka is Kunti is asking for more adversity. So this one is Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribir. If you have Janma, that is by these are challenges for Krishna to head towards Krishna. Now Parikshit had both, right? Parikshit also was very rich. He was also Ajata Chakshur. There was nobody. Obviously, Yudhishthir was never had enemies, and obviously nobody could even challenge Parikshit because Parikshit was so powerful he could challenge even Kali. So in that case, he had richness, he had fame, he had name. Whatever Kunti Maharani is telling is going to be an impediment towards bhakti. All that is there for Parikshit. But is he a devotee or all these impediments became actually impediments for him?
Because he was a born devotee, they were not impediments for him.
So for a devotee, none of this becomes an impediment, right? So Parikshit, also it is said that, like how Mataji was mentioning, previously he should have done some punya, right? Spiritual punya, credit. Which is why it is very clearly known that Parikshit was born in transcendental family, both as Suchiman, Shriman. That's why he could take off at that level. Now for him, there is no impediment. So reason is not only for Yudhishthira, not only for Parikshit, there are also kings like Amrish Maharaj. The chance of these becoming impediments are higher. But that doesn't mean all those who have Suchi, richness and all of that will have impediments. One. Second thing is today there's also a very nice statement by Srila Prabhupada in the first canto where he said, today even a person who is very poor is proud of his possession. So somebody, in fact, I had this doubt. I thought, okay, that means, does it mean that somebody who's very poor will be very humble or down to earth? Not necessary. Richness or poor, richness by Shriman, that is by wealth, by name, by family name, by position, by status, all that can be an impediment. But if a person is a devotee, he will dovetail all of that to Krishna. Which is why in the initial shlokas, they are saying that if one is not able to dovetail things to Krishna, which is what Bhagavad Gita also says, right? Yat karoshi, yat dashnasi, yat juosi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, that kurushva madarpanam. Everything you will do arpana for Krishna. If you can't, then first try and get out of the material position. So first, only when you get out of the material position, you can start bhakti, is what it is mentioned in the, I think in this chapter only, I think if I'm right, second, third, around that time it is mentioned. Now, Parikshit was born and the entire Brahmana curse. Why was this orchestrated by Krishna? So we are all telling he was born in a spiritual family, nothing influenced him. So why was the whole thing orchestrated?
Taken back to Godhead.
Taking back to Godhead. So for that, what is the next? Why was this orchestrated? Yeah, agreed. Taking back to Godhead. But what was the reason for Providence to give, give him an imminent death within 7 days?
He could renunciate everything and leave.
Excellent. So he could renunciate and also to get a spiritual master like Sukadev Goswami. So the second point which we said, rather this was the first point which one of the Matajis had pointed, right? That you need a spiritual master. So everything was played like this. So everybody lands up, they get married. As a product of marriage, they have children. As a reason to maintain, they have family, wealth, horses. Today, horses are converted to horsepower vehicles and all of that. Though Parikshit was never into material, he was never stuck material. We all know that because whatever he did, including, trying to challenge Kali, was more from following the rule, right? He was a true representative of Krishna, and he was strictly following the rules or what is required. And that, in spite of that, what he feels is he was tied because of all this materialistic work and duty, and Krishna gave an opportunity for him to liberate. This is Parikshit's feeling. From our point of view, we should always remember Parikshit is a very exalted devotee. Nothing is required for him to actually go to the next level. So he was already a topmost devotee, right? So these are the things which we had already noticed in the initial session. So the first one, where what happens is Parikshit clearly concentrates his mind on Krishna. That is one. Second one is the second verse talks about, 2 to 4 talks about how he can detach himself from family and all these external energy of Krishna, which is why we also say in Bhagavad Gita, right? 7th chapter, Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Mamya Duratyaya Mamevaya Prapatyante Maya Metam Tarantimi. So basically, this energy is also an energy of mind, right? But if you surrender to me, it will not have an impact. That is exactly what Parikshit did. He was actually surrendered everything in no time and just walked off. His kingdom, his opulence, his richness, and all of that, right? Now, Parikshit asks a question. Boss, Sukha, tell me, how did Lord create? Why is Parikshit asking that question? Doesn't he know?
It was insufficient. That knowledge he had was insufficient.
He felt it was insufficient. In fact, Sukha started off with that, right? Janmadasya yaton vayaditaratas chatvega bhijnaswarat tene brahmardai adi kavaye muyanti yet surayah tejo vari mrisham yata vinimayo tatrapi sargo mrisham tamna sveda sada nirashta kuhakam satyam param dhimai. So Dhimahi is Gayatri Mantra. Obviously, Janmadi Asya Yata means whatever created, everything, right? All that to start off with are creations of Krishna, which Parikshit is very clear. But he wants to know more, right? Now Sukha is asking, why are you asking me? Right? This is the mind voice, right? There are so many people. So he says, yes, there are so many people, his mind voice, right? He's telling, yes, Janame, they are there. Obviously, even in that crowd, there are a lot of people. But he wanted to give absolute clarity to tell that the creator, the soul Purushottam, the creator, the Sarvanatha or the Jagannatha is only Krishna. So to just clarify that, he is asking Sukha, and he says, who can be more exalted than you? Because indirectly we know, right? Atmaramesya muneyo nirgrante api urukrume kurvanta hetu kim bhaktam itam bhuto guno harihi. That means they are very satisfied. Forget about people materially possessed, are ready to give up. But Sukadeva is satisfied. In spite of that, why is he involved is because for elevating the or liberating the devotees. So this is what they are talking about. So he is asking about how Lord is creating. Is it happening one after the other or is it happening parallelly? So he is talking about two avatars. One is the Purusha avatar, which is what? Who are the Purusha avatars?
The three Vishnus,
Namely?
Arnodaksai, Karvodaksai, and Kshirodaksai Vishnu.
Haribol, very nice. So the three Vishnus and then the Guna avatars?
Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara.
Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Where Brahma is the creator and he is in the mode of
Passion.
right, and obviously goodness is Vishnu and Maheshwara. Yes. So, and obviously if we are trying to go a little more, Krishna's first expansion is
Baladeva.
yes, and from Baladev comes
From Krishna.
yeah, the first Chatur, right? Sankarshana is from Chatur. Sankarshana comes Vasudev, sorry, Vasudeva, and from there Aniruddha and Pradyumna and Aniruddha Pradyumna, one of that. And then the second expansion happens, right? And so that is the next level, which is called the Narayana, where it entering into Vaikunta. And there again, second quadruple expansions, which are similar, happens. The first one is called Mula Sankarshana. Second one is called the Maha Sankarshana, from where Mahavishnu, alias Karnodakasai Vishnu, is coming. From the, he's the Paramatma. As Paramatma of every universe, he enters as Garbhodakasai Vishnu. Very nice. And as Paramatma of everybody's soul, he enters as Shiro. In every. I hope we are clear with this.
Yeah.
Right? So after this theory class is over, he now completely starts praying obeisances, right? Sukha also starts praying obeisances, and that's typically the shlokas which we partly covered. I think Prabhu had covered only till here last week, and from 12 to 18, he will be paying obeisances to the Lord. And, so this is one. And then finally, towards the last five, which is 19 to 23, he says four. I mean, he says, now he's telling, let the Lord be pleased with me. Whatever I'm doing, let the Lord be pleased with me. Now, the beauty of any great devotee is that the devotee does not feel he is speaking. He only feels it is Krishna's opulence or the power which has facilitated him to speak. This is something which we should always remember. Anything we do, yatatitam yatamatis, is what Sukha also says. I mean, Sutta. Sutta also says, whatever I remember, to that extent I will speak. But we are also seeing, right, what does Krishna say? He says in 15.15. Does anyone remember? Finish, Mother.
सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानपोहनं च वेदेश सर्वैरहमेव विद्यो वेदान्तकृतवेदविद एव चाहम्.
Haribol, very nice voice. So from there only the remembrance, memory, everything comes. So he's telling, right? And also, besides all this, he is the one who's spoken in all Vedas, and the purpose of all Vedas is to know him. So every Veda is to know Krishna, right? And that is the first chapter. If you remember the first 5, 6, and all that, where Vyasa. In fact, I have the picture of Vyasa praying to Narada. Actually asking what? I'm not satisfied. And that is when Srimad Bhagavatam comes. And it is written by Vyasa and spoken by Sukha. That is why it's like a ripened fruit. Nigata kalpataror bailitam muham. Anybody knows the shloka? You all tell. Familiar. We read this also. Nigama kalpataror.
निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुक्मुखाद् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकः.
Haribol, very nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, Nigama, it's like a ripened fruit. Right? So, this is what we are telling. This was a compulsory shloka. My request to you all is whenever chance we get, we should keep telling the shlokas. Otherwise, because our Prayanalpa Sabde Kalo Asmin Yuge Janaha Mandaha Sumandamatayo Mandabhagya Upadritaha. Here in Kali Yuga, we will not have the memory of Satya Yuga, Dwapa Yuga, or Treta Yuga. So obviously we won't be able to recall it unless we keep recalling it every now and then. Thankfully, because we are taking class, invariably there will be somewhere we will remember. We will have to quote it. But for people who are not having a chance to take class, my request to you all is somewhere or the other, maybe 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a week. Just try and remember whatever shlokas you all have said. Or when you all are revising for the exam, just go back and revise, because these are nice prayers which are actually good. And by remembering the slokas, even scientifically, I heard the memory increases, right? So we can do all of that. Now, I think Prabhu covered till 11. We covered till 13. So, Mataji, we'll continue from the 14. So, can you share the screen?
Yes, Mother.
And also, we saw, right? Akama karma, akava sarma kuhamebhyo, moksha kama udaradihi, tivrena bhakti yogena, purusham param. Akama, if you don't have any desire, that also he'll fulfill. Sakama, that means along with this, he fulfills moksha kama, liberation also he fulfills. Hare Krishna,
Can you
Prabhu.
hear me?
I can't hear you, Prabhu.
Can you? Hello.
Huh?
Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, Mataji, is Pran Prabhu not back?
I already told in the beginning of the session that I will be handling the class today.
No, that's fine, Madam Mataji. I understood that. But I'm asking you, is he back or not?
He is back. He had some work, Prabhu. I didn't ask him what. So I couldn't talk to him.
No, his hair and hearty is fine.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhu. What are you trying to ask, Prabhu? I'm not able to understand.
Is he fine, Mataji?
He's totally fine, Prabhu. He's just got some other program in the temple, and I could not get to speak to him because when he called me, I could not take. Yeah.
Just wanted to know, Mataji. Thank you.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Right. So in the 12th verse, in the 11th verse, Sukadev Goswami is telling about, he's talking about Rishikesha. Rishikesha Sevanam Sarva Uttama. So basically, Bhakti Uttama. Rishikesha means with our senses, control of senses. That is the topmost bhakti, right? And the 12th verse, we are talking about the modes of creation, right? He accepts 3 modes, which is what we, I think Priya Tarshini Mataji very clearly spoke about, the Gunavatarams, right? And he actually resides in this way in the hearts of all the living entity. Now we will go to 13. My request is, can someone read 13? We finished, Mataji? No, we did not. Okay. Someone read this.
Shall I?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yes, Mataji.
Bhuyo nama sat vrijana veda asatam.
Bhuyo nama
Yo nama
Asatam.
Satam Satam
Asambhava vayakila sattva-murtaye.
Asambhavaya
Asambhavaya
kila
Sattva-murtaye.
Sattva-murtaye
Pumsam punaha paramahamshaya ashrame.
Pumsam
Puna
Paramahamsaya
Ashrame
Vyavasthitanam anukramaya anumrigaya dashushe.
Vyavasthitanam Anumrigya Dashute.
Dashushe.
Translation by Sivan Grace A.C. Bakthi Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. I again offer my respectful obeisances unto the form of complete existence and transcendence, who is the liberator of the pious devotees from all distress and the destroyer of the further advances in atheistic temperament of the non-devotee demons. For the transcendentalists who are situated in the topmost spiritual perfection, he grants their specific destinations. Purport. Lord Sri Krishna is the complete form of all existence, both material and spiritual. Akila means complete, or that which is not kila, inferior. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, there are 2 kinds of nature, prakriti, namely the material nature and the spiritual nature, or the external and internal potencies of the Lord. The material nature is called as apara or inferior, and the spiritual nature is called as a superior or transcendental. Therefore, the form of the Lord is not that of the inferior material nature. He is complete transcendence, and he is murti or having transcendental form. The less intelligent man who are unaware of his transcendental form describe him as impersonal Brahman. But Brahman is simply the rays of his transcendental body, Yashya Prabhaha. The devotees who are aware of his transcendental form render him service. Therefore, the Lord also reciprocates by his causeless mercy and thus delivers his devotees from all distresses. The pious men who follow the rulings of the Vedas are also dear to him, and therefore the pious men of this world are also protected by him. The impious and the non-devotees are against the principles of the Vedas, and so such persons are always hampered from making advances in their nefarious activities. Some of them who are especially favored by the Lord are killed by him personally, as in the cases of Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and Kamsa, and thus such demons get salvation and are thereby checked from further progress in their demonic activities. Just like a kind father, either in his favor upon the devotees or his punishment of the demons, he is ever kind to everyone because he is the complete existence for all individual existence. The Paramahamsa stage of existence is the highest perfectional stage of spiritual values. According to Srimati Kundi Devi, the Lord is factually understood by the Paramahamsas only. As there is gradual realization of the transcendence from the impersonal Brahman to the localized Paramatma to the personality of Godhead, Purushottama, Lord Krishna. Similarly, there is a gradual promotion of one situation in the spiritual life from Sannyasa, Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivargacharya, and Paramahamsa are gradual progressive stages in the renounced order of life. Sannyasa and Kundi Devi, the mother of Pandavas, has spoken about them in her prayers for Lord Krishna, Canto 1, Chapter 8. The Paramahamsas are generally found among both the impersonalists and the devotees. But according to Srimad Bhagavatam, as clearly stated by Kundi Devi, pure Bhakti Yoga is understood by the Paramahamsas. And Kundi Devi has especially mentioned that the Lord descends Paritranaya Shaduna, especially to award Bhakti Yoga to the Paramahamsas. So ultimately, the Paramahamsas, in the true sense of the term, or unalloyed devotees of the Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami has directly accepted that the highest destination is Bhakti Yoga, by which one accepts the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Those who accept the path of Bhakti Yoga are the factual Paramahamsas. Since the Lord is very kind to everyone, the impersonalists who accept Bhakti as the means of merging in the existence of the Lord in his impersonal Brahmajyoti are also awarded their desired destination. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.11, he has assured everyone, Ye yatha mam prapatyante. According to Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur, there are two classes of Paramahamsas, namely Brahmanandis, that is impersonalist, and Premanandis, devotees, and both are awarded their desired destination. Although the Premanandis are more fortunate than the Brahmanandis, but both the Brahmanandis and the Premanandis are transcendentalists, and they have nothing to do with the inferior material nature full of the existential miseries of the life. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, very nicely read. Thanks, Tanushree ma'am. So very clearly, I think Krishna in entire Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter also he says, right, Antakale chemameva smaran mukte kalevaram, right? So whatever you're thinking, right, and that is what you'll reach. Yam yam vapi smaran varam tvajatante kalevaram tam tam eva iti kaunteya sada sadbhava bhavita. That frame of mind we'll reach. So that is clear. So irrespective of whatever a person wants, Krishna will give. That's a speciality. Most of the time, I think if we practice this, now I am talking in a very small level, Krishna obviously can give that, but even for us, most of the time, if we notice where our problems lie is, we want to give people, even in a good way, genuine way, what we want to give them. If we look in a different angle, give them what they want, right? They'll like, small example I'll tell you. Suppose it's very cold, right? Somebody would like to wear a thermal wear. Somebody would like to wear woolen sweater. Somebody would prefer a shawl. Now, protection from the chillness is very important, but what kind of protection is irrelevant, because somebody will prefer this. I may, for instance, not prefer a shawl, right? I would prefer something where my hands are free. I'll wear something like a jacket. So for me, if someone comes and gives me a shawl, I feel very uncomfortable to manage a shawl and myself. The reason I'm giving you this example is why people have different things is because even when it comes to a dress, we need a variety. Somebody's taste is very different from somebody else's taste. Obviously, there will always be the best, but in a material world, there is very difficulty. I mean, there's a lot of difficulty in telling whether this is the best or this is the second best. But in spiritual reality, obviously, being with Krishna is the best. So there is no doubt. Vadanti tattvaviddas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabdyate. All three are called transcendentalists, right? Brahmeti, someone who believes in Brahma. So brahmanei pratistaya amritasya vyatasya cha shashvatasya sa dharmasya sukasai kante kashya cha. So that Brahma, that is the effulgence, is nothing but my energy. What energy? Basically, it's Krishna's energy, right? Which is why in Bhagavad Gita 15 chapter 7 shloka it said Nayat bhashayate surya na shashanko na pavakaha yadgatva na nivartante tatama paramam bhavan. So remember, like how we go for a holiday, we pack our torchlight and all, not required. We can be very, very comfortable because we don't need torch, we don't need all of this to be packed because Krishna has effulgence. Now, his effulgence, is it really loved by the devotees? Because I told two things. One, whatever I so far was speaking is Brahmanandi. There is also Premanandis who only want love of Krishna. This Brahma Jyoti they don't want. Can you recall and tell me, and I did mention this in the previous class, any shloka which says that I don't want your Brahman effulgence, show me your face. Do you recall any?
Ishopanishad.
Very nice. Very nice. Ishopanishad Shloka 15. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pilitam muham tatsvan pushana pavrinyu satya dharmaya drishtaye. Please, to get that Hiranmayena, that light, that effulgent light. Do you remember in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, he says that light, which is, it's emerging from Krishna, is equal to, there is an analogy which is given. The light is, which is coming from Krishna's body is equal to what? It's equal to what? 1,000 sons.
Thousands of sons, yeah.
Thousands of sons, not even 1,000 sons, thousands of sons multiplied, right? So that is the challenge which is there. It's like so bright, right? So that is why in Nisho place they're telling bosses, it's like when we drive in a highway, when someone puts the, what do you call that, dip or dim? What do you call that? In the car light, dip and dim. You have two things. Now the brighter one, I don't know what it is called. It like blurs our eye. We won't be able to drive. 2 times when you turn, it becomes very bright, right? So that's okay when you're driving in a highway when there are no vehicles and there is no visibility for a short while, but you can't drive throughout in that. So that is what devotees are also feeling. It's too bright. Get that out. Pushanye karma, pushanye karma tanma pajapatyo vyuasmin samudatejaha tajo rupam thamo tadatya pashyam yo aso purushaha yo aso asmin. Pushanye kasya yamadurya prajapati means that particular effulgence is so disturbing. I'm just not able to take it forward, is what he's telling. So now coming back to it, Prema Nandis don't want that. So it's very clearly, even though Isha Upanishad is one of the Upanishads, it's not like topmost for pure devotee. It is addresses all the kinds of devotees. Even then, the pure devotees who are looking in for a personalized form do not want the Brahma effulgence. This is one. Now, going back to Kunti's prayers also, Kunti also talks about Krishna as Akinchana. We were talking about Kinchana, Akinchana, right? Krishna is top beyond that. And can anyone tell me, before we get into Kunti prayers, what we're talking about 4 kind of sannyasis in the previous para, right? We are talking about sannyasi, we are talking about Paramahamsa, Acharya Sannyasya, and Kutichaka. Which category do we belong to? Usha Mataji, the previous para, if you can show, in the screen. Yeah. Yeah, no, the one which you're showing, correct. Yeah, perfect. Which category we are? Right? Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivrajaka, and Paramahamsa. Yeah, thank you so much.
We don't belong to any of these 4.
We belong to one of the category. We come under one of the categories. We don't belong to is fine, but one of that is what we principally follow.
Maybe Kutichaka.
No, thank you, Radha.
Paramahamsa.
Paribraja Acharya. I'm not even getting that word. Right? It's just that's why I asked her. I'm just trying to read that word. Paribraja Kacharya. Parivraja Kacharya. Parivraja Kacharya means Acharya. We are talking about preaching mission. So Acharya means teacher, right? So he is practicing. Kutichaka is someone, sannyasa, obviously he will go off completely. Of that sannyasas, 4 categories, which is Kutichaka means somebody who will go live within the same town. He will still take food from home and eat. Bahudaka will be out of the city. He will be totally dependent on, the Lord for everything. And Paramahamsa is totally, he's not even worried. He will not even sleep under a tree beyond one night because he will get attached to a particular tree. Also, even place, that much of detachment. And we belong to the Parivrajaka Acharya, which means that Vraja, right? Vraja. We are into Acharya, teaching. So that is our teaching mission. And if you see Kunti Maharani, she is actually talking about very beautifully, as mother of Pandava, she's very clearly explaining this. If you see the last shloka, Shri Krishna Krishna Satarishni Vishabhavani Drik Rajanya Vamsana Pavanana Varga Virya Govinda Godvija Shurari Haraftara Golokila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. So she'll pray obeisance. Akila Guru. I am praying obeisances to this Akila Guru is what she is actually saying. So that shows the Krishna's thing. And we also saw Yedam mam prapatyante tam tajaiva bhajamyam manavartamanu vartante manusyam pata sarvasaha. Whatever you ask is what Krishna is giving, right? So all those who are thinking of Krishna, Kamsa also thought of Krishna a lot, but in a negative way. That is why we tell, right? What is a pure devotional service, shloka? What is the definition of pure devotional service? Anyabhilashita Sunyam?
Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishna Silanam Bhakti Ruttam.
That is the topmost pati. Anukula, not Pratikula. Okay, now what if it is Pratikula? Even then it's fine. So Krishna kills Kamsa because they have a Pratikulam, right? Hiranyakashipu, all of them. pratikulam, right? They are not thinking in a favorably, unfavorably. Even then, Krishna is killing them and giving them better benediction of giving Swarupya Mukti, which is very similar to him. Vaikunta, they have very similar form of Krishna. Then how will I differentiate Krishna if everyone has a similar form?
Kaustuba and Srivatsanga.
Haribol, very nice method. Kaustuba and Srivatsa, from that I'll be able to differentiate him. So this is what it is. Now you will be telling, is this the case? Like for us, like how can, what I wish is what Krishna will give. In fact, when Krishna was living also, he was relating, right? Somebody wanted him to be a friend. Not only Arjuna, I'm talking about Sudama, the Madhumangal, he related to them. Even in the Govardhan Leela, why the Govardhan Leela is very famous? Because at one time he offers multiple benediction. And even in Govardhan Leela, the beauty is everybody are thinking that Krishna is looking at them. That is the feeling they got. And they used to feel happy and then little embarrassed. Oh my God, Krishna is just staring at me 7 nights. What if others see? That kind of a thought. Not only in Rasa Leela, he gave this feeling to all of them, not just the gopis, even to the parents. Mama Yashoda used to think, wow, my son, look, in spite of the entire, even though he's taking care of everybody, his eyes are just focusing on me. He loves me. Nand Maharaj used to think, sir, my son loves me, he's just looking. Radharani used to think, oh, he's just staring at me. So like that, everybody, Madhumangal, how many people are there? In spite of Radharani, everybody being there, see, he's just looking at me. That used to be the feeling. And the same feeling Mirabai also had in her previous gen when she came there. And I did tell you the story. Her last breath, she was looking at Krishna. And for her, Krishna was also looking at her. And that is why her last wish, we say, right? Antakale cha mameva smaran mukte kalevaram. So actually, she should have gone to Goloka, but she didn't, because whatever she's thinking, she wanted to experience Krishna. So she was born again as Mirabai and she experienced living with Krishna throughout her life. And not only here, anywhere Krishna is present, he displays multiple features at the same time. You'll ask how. Now, if I'm talking to my daughter, I will not be able to connect to my husband, right? I will be relating only to my daughter. So I'm playing, though I will be playing multiple roles as a mother, as a daughter, as a wife. But at one point in time, I will play only one role. Right? You'll tell, no, Mataji, when I'm cooking for the entire family. Correct. But when I'm serving, I will serve only to one person at one time. But Krishna, at the same time, Krishna Balaram both have this beauty. That is when they are entering in the, what do you call, the ring of, the fighting ring of Kamsa. Both of them are entering. What is that shloka? Mallanam Ashnir Nirnam Naravara Srinam Smaro Murtiman Gopanam Swajana Stita Bhuja Satam to Pitro Sichuhu Mrityu Bojapate Virata Vidusham Tatvam Param Yoginam Vrishninam Paradevate Tivadito Rangam Gata Sagraja. Rangastal is called the ring. We call it ring. So what happens? Mallana Ashner Nirna, like a lightning, like he's appearing, like both of them are making an entry. Krishna Balram are just making an entry into the what do you call that ring, right? The Rangastan, the fighting place, the circle. We call it ring actually in English. So they're entering that, and Nirna Naravara Srinam Smaromurtinam. Naravara like a best of men. For all the boys, they are like the hero, right? We tell what is a macho man, right? Wow, Naravara, like that. And for the girls, right? So Mallana Mashnir Nirnam Naravara Srinam Smaro Murtiman, right? Smaro Murtiman. So how does he look like a hero? And for the Gopanam, for the Gopas, Swajana Stita Bhuja, Sastro Shupitro Mishu. So basically for the gopis, they're like beautiful, lovely guys. And for Pitra, like all those who are in the parental right. It can be Yashodamai or all of the older gopis or Nand Maharaj, all right. Pitra is like a small child, right? So like that, Malana Mashrinam, Naravara Srinam Sparomotan, Gopanam Swajana, Stita Bhuja, Satam Pitro Sichu, Mrityu Jo Bhotabatir. For Boja, that is Kamsa is also called Boja king, right? He's like Mrityu, like the death personified. And Mrityu Bhojapate Virat Avidusham, for all those who are, wrong, doing the wrong, right? Wrongdoers, he's like personification of death. They are scared. They see him as a punisher, like the Yamaraj, right? Vrishninam Paradevate Vedito, for Vrishnis, for all the Vrishnis, right? He's the worshipping Lord. So Rangam Sa Graja, when he is entering along with his brother. Sagraja means the older brother, who's Balaram. So that is how, so he's like a lightning for the Gopas. So everybody, like Srinam, like the most handsome, the cutest guy for all the gopis. Single entry, he's actually, if you notice, for each of them, he's playing that role. Actually, how should he be? If he's entering a fight, forget about looking at your friend and your father, you will be in the mood of fight, right? So you should be with all crowd. It is not the case with Krishna. Krishna is relating to each one in a different form, even in the Rangasthal. So we can see the connect, we can see the love, we can see the feeling which is exhibited even when Krishna was there in Bulu. So imagine then that variety exists a lot over there, and that variety we can enjoy only when we take the Premananda, that is Sannyasa, Paramahamsa in the lovable form. That will only be connecting us to the highest level. Mataji, the previous para, can you just slide down? Just want to check if I missed out something. Previous, first para. Thank you, Mataji. So this is what I told. Akila and also Apara. So Krishna is has two energies, internal energy, which is the superior energy, and external energy, which is the inferior energy, which is why the material nature, which is the inferior energy, is called Apara, which is the shloka also, right? Aparayam itastandam prakrit vidhi mepanam jiva bhuta mahabhado yayadam daryate jagat. We are superior energy, but we are exploiting the inferior energy. So you'll ask, Mataji, how do we know he's superior energy? Krishna is also, Arjuna is also playing, right? Param Brahma Param Dhamma, your para, you're superior, your Dham is superior. Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, you're the eternal husband for everyone. Shashvatam, permanent. You can either call husband, or you can also call enjoyer. Param Brahma, Parandama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibham. You are the Adi Deva. Aja means you are not born. Vibhum, Anadi. This was already explained in the previous verse. There is no parents. If there is someone senior to God, then that person will be God. Therefore, Krishna is the topmost. Now, day before yesterday, I think it is day before yesterday, or the day before yesterday, they celebrated what is called Devi Deepavali. Right? I think North Indians will know. South Indians, we have no idea. Because I'd been to Mathura incidentally, and I was wondering why there's so much crowd. After our yatra, Krishna blessing, I managed to put my foot in Mathura, and I later realized that it was Dev Diwali, which means all the Devatas also celebrate Diwali. Which also means, like, just like how we have functions, they also celebrate in favor of Krishna. So it is said in Mathura, all the Devatas are coming on that day. Right? So there was huge crowd. It was very nice, very beautifully decorated. So Mathura, which normally closes from 1 to 4, just closed for 2 hours. Between 1 to 3 o'clock, they reopened Mathura. And even we use the word jail or prison, but they use the word as Janmastan, where he was born. Everything is so spiritual about Krishna, right? So all the devatas, right? The 33 crore devatas, I think this was one of the questions in the 545 class. All of them are included in Devatas. All of them are included in Devatas, including Brahma and Shiva. So all of them, which is why the 3 gunas which are being explained talks about Brahma as the creator in passion, and Lord Shiva in the ignorance. Now, Lord Shiva is not in mode of ignorance, but he basically handles people in the mode of ignorance. So all of them celebrated their Diwali, I think about 3 days back. And that's how all the celebrations which are happening here also happens in the spiritual world. And more than spiritual, it happens in the higher planets of our world. So this is what he's talking about. And the Dham which Krishna is having is called Parandham, which is topmost, which is actually who is the what should I say? Who actually created the Dham? Who is the Dham? Spiritual world, material world, all of that is created by whom? Who's creating?
Vishwakarma?
Vishwakarma in charge is only in construction of the plan of the particular house, but the whole world, the water, rivers, everything are created by whom?
Lord.
Yeah, okay. But Lord is only enjoying there. No? He doesn't get into all this world. Broadly, yes. But specifically whom? Whatever Krishna is wearing, including the necklace, his sacred thread, all of that is whom?
Balaramji.
Haribol, very nice, Balaram Lauji. So Balaram, right? So he is that. So basically the spiritual world, material world, which is why as Ananta Shesh he is present. In fact, we had been to this place where Lord Ram uh, right, goes for Vanavas, right? And over there, we all know that there was a small temple where Lakshmana is in two forms. That is, as Lakshman, he's also in the Ananta Shesha form, because 12 years he does not eat, he does not sleep. And that is possible not in the human form, it is possible in the Ananta Shesha form. So he takes the benediction, he takes the Rupa of Ananta Shesha, takes the benediction and comes back into the human form. This is the Aidhikam. That is a story they have over there, and that was there was a mandir also built. And we went and took darshan there. So this was a very beautiful yatra, was amazing in terms of the places we saw, structure and all of that. So this is why we are bringing all this, is because when we go alone, we will not know so many places. We will not know so many beauties of these places. So all of this we need to connect and take it forward. So I hope this is clear, because I went very slow in this particular thing because it covers a lot of aspects of the entire chapter. So we can move on to the next verse. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead, ma.
नमो नमस्ते स्वऋषभाय सात्वताम्
Namo
Namaste Vrishabhaya
Saraswati.
Satvatam
विदूरकष्ठाय मुहुकुयोगिनाम्
Vidurakashtaya Muhukuyoginam
निरस्तसंज्ञातिशयेन राधसा
Grastasamyatishayen Radhasa
स्वधामानि ब्रह्माणि रमस्य ते नमः
Swadhamani Brahmani Ramyasate Namaha.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto he who is the associate of the members of the Yadu dynasty and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both the material and spiritual worlds, yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky. There is no one equal to him because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable. Purport. There are two sides of the transcendental manifestations of the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna. For the pure devotees, he is the constant companion, as in the case of his becoming one of the family members of the Yadu dynasty, or his becoming the friend of Arjuna, or his becoming the associate neighbor of the inhabitants of Vrindavana, as the son of Nanda Yashoda, the friend of Sudama, Sridama, and Madhumangala, or the lover of the damsels of Vrajabhumi, etc. That is part of his personal features, and by his impersonal features, he expands the rays of the Brahmajyoti, which is limitless and all-pervasive. Part of this all-pervasive Brahmajyoti, which is compared to the sun rays, is covered by the darkness of the Mahat Tattva, and this insignificant part is known as the material world. In this material world, there are innumerable universes like the one we can experience, and in each of them, there are hundreds of thousands of planets like the one we are inhabiting. The mundaners are more or less captivated by the unlimited expansion of the rays of the Lord, but the devotees are concerned more with his personal form which everything is emanating, Janmadi Asya Yataha. As the sun rays are concentrated in the sun disk, the Brahmajyoti is concentrated in Goloka Vrindavana, the topmost spiritual planet in the spiritual sky. The immeasurable spiritual sky is full of spiritual planets named Vaikunthas, far beyond the material sky. The mundaners have insufficient information of even the mundane sky, so what can they think of the spiritual sky? Therefore, the mundaners are always far, far away from him. Even if in the future they are able to manufacture some machine, though speed may be accelerated to the velocity of the wind or mind, the mundaners will still be unable to imagine reaching the planets in the spiritual sky. So the Lord and his residential abode will always remain a myth or a mysterious problem. But for the devotees, the Lord will always be available as an associate. In the spiritual sky, his opulence is immeasurable. The Lord resides in all the spiritual planets, the innumerable Vaikuntha planets, by expanding his plenary portions along with his liberated devotee associates. But the impersonalists who want to merge in the existence of the Lord are allowed to merge as one of the spiritual sparks of the Brahma Jyoti. They have no qualifications for becoming associates of the Lord, either in the Vaikuntha planets or in the supreme planet, Goloka Vrindavana, described in the Bhagavad Gita as Madhama, and here in this verse as the Swadhama of the Lord. This Madhama or Swadhama is described in the Bhagavad Gita 15.6 as follows. Na tad bhasyate suryo na sishanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nirvartante tad dhama paramam mama. The Lord Swadhama does not require any sunlight or moonlight or electricity for illumination. The Dhamma or place is supreme, and whoever goes there never comes back to this material world. The Vaikuntha planets and the Goloka Vrindavana planet are all self-illuminating, and the rays scattered by those Swadhama of the Lord constitute the existence of the Brahma Jyoti. As further confirmed in the Vedas like the Mundaka 2.2.10, Katha 2.2.15, and Shvetara Upanishad 6.14. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kuto yam agni tam eva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. In the Swadhama of the Lord, there is no need of sun, moon, or stars for illumination, nor is there need of electricity. So, what to speak of ignited lamps? On the other hand, it is because those planets are self-illuminating that all effulgence has become possible, and whatever there is that is dazzling is due to the reflection of that Swadhama. One who is dazzled by the effulgence of the impersonal Brahma Jyoti cannot know the personal transcendence. Therefore, in the Ishopanishad 15, it is prayed that the Lord shift his dazzling effulgences so that the devotee can see the reality. It is spoken thus. Hiranmayena patrena satyasa pihitam mukam tattvam shanna pravin satyadharmaya drashte. O Lord, you are the maintainer of everything, both material and spiritual, and everything flourishes by your mercy. Your devotional service or Bhakti Yoga is the actual principle of religion, Satya Dharma, and I am engaged in that service. So kindly protect me by showing your real face. Please therefore remove the veil of your Brahma Jyoti rays so that I can see your form of eternal bliss and knowledge. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Usha Mataji, I pulled off your screen. Okay. So this was a doubt which you all asked. So from my level of understanding, can you see the whiteboard?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Just for the sake of convenience, I'm just mentioning. Okay, let's assume this is the spiritual world. And this is the material world, the small one. So this is only 1/4, the material world, right? The 3/4 is the spiritual world. This typically answers our question that is there space if we all shift here? Yes. And when I'm telling 1/4, it is not only our universe. There are multiple universes, right? Small, many universes. So whatever small balls, each of that. So in one ball, which is there, which I'm trying to expand this ball, there are 14 planets. Right? There are 14 planets. Now in this world, which is what is called Vaikuntha, Krishna's Dham is called the Goloka Dham. And let me just... the Goloka Dham, and that Dham is where Krishna is there, right? So this is where Krishna is there. You have Krishna and Radha Rani. on the topmost planet. And the next one which we have is Ayodhya. Right now below, so these second topmost Dham, which is what I wanted to tell. So this is like the lotus world, the Krishna Dham, right? Krishna's Dham. Now below this, where whatever you're telling is all Vaikuntha planets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them. These are all having 400 expansion of Krishna. And when I'm telling 400 expansion of Krishna, each of them have a preceding deity. One will be Purushottam, right? So let me keep it as P. Another one is known as Damodara. Another one is called the Rishikesha, right? And obviously the place where they have the conch shell, the four things keep changing. And in the various combination, you have various preceding deity. And that particular preceding deity is in charge of that particular thing. His geography is only this. Obviously, Krishna's geography is everywhere. He cannot be controlled by time and tide, right? So he is broad. But each of the Vaikunta planets, or the entire circle here is called, the whole thing is called Vaikunta. The whole thing is called the Vaikunta. And all of you know Kunda means without any problem. And this material world is because of this is the Brahmajyoti effulgence which is coming from here. But the Mahatattva, right? These are the layers which are covering. So this Brahmajyoti does not enter this layer because all these are covered by each of these circles. I'm just broadly mentioning it. Each of these circles are covered by multiple layers of Mahatattva, right? Basically 7 layers, but I'm just saying. So this is what the whole thing is. Is this clear? Because last time many of you all asked some doubts on this, which is why I thought I will try in my most incapable way of drawing, but then I found a drawing pencil of my daughter, so I thought I will explain that way. Is it clear?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we'll go back to the session. Usha Mataji, may I request you to share again? Sorry about lifting it out. Yes. So that Dhamma means, so this is the Dhamma, and we covered most of this content in the previous verse. So we'll go ahead with the text 15. Yeah, go ahead.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Can you please scroll little down, Usha Mataji?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yat Kirtanam Yat Smaranam. Yat Kirtanam Yat Smaranam Yadikshanam.
Yat Kirtanam Yat
Smaranam
Yadikshanam.
Yad Vandanam Yat Shravanam Yad Arhanam.
Yad
Vandanam Yad Shravanam Yad Arhanam.
Lokasya Satyo Vidunoti Kalmasham.
Lokasya Satyo Vidunoti Kalmasham.
Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Namaha.
Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Namaha.
Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Krishna Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrances, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once cleanse the effect of all the sins of the performer. Purport. The sublime form of religious performances to free oneself from all reactions of sins is suggested herein by the greatest authority, Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Kirtanam, or glorifying the Lord, can be performed in very many ways, such as remembering, visiting temples to see the deity, offering prayers in front of the Lord, and hearing recitations of glorification of the Lord mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. Kirtanam can be performed both by singing the glories of the Lord in accompaniment with melodious music and by recitation of scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. The devotees need not be disappointed in the physical absence of the Lord, though they may think of not being associated with him. The devotional process of chanting, hearing, remembering, etc., either all or some of them, or even one of them, can give us the desired result of associating with the Lord by discharging the transcendental loving service of the Lord in the above manner. Even the very sound of the holy name of Lord Krishna or Rama can at once surcharge the atmosphere spiritually. We must know definitely that the Lord is present wherever such pure transcendental service is performed. And thus the performer of offenseless Kirtanam has positive association with the Lord. Similarly, remembrance and prayers also can give us the desired result if they are properly done under expert guidance. One should not concoct forms of devotional service. One may worship the form of the Lord in a temple or one may impersonally offer the Lord devotional prayers in a mosque or a church. One is sure to get free from the reaction of sins, provided one is very careful about not committing sins willingly in expectation of getting free from the reaction of worshipping in the temple or by offering prayers in the church. This mentality of committing sins willfully on the strength of devotional service is called Namno Bala Dyasyahi Papa Buddhihi, and it is the greatest offense in the discharge of devotional service. Hearing, therefore, is essential in order to keep oneself strictly on God against such pitfalls of sins. And in order to give special stress to the hearing process, the Goswamis invokes all auspicious fortune in that matter. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, very nicely read and sung. So now coming back to the most important thing, we saw various people who offers among the 9 ways of devotional service, various people offered in different way. You can do in all ways. Who offered in all kinds? All Nava Bhakti was offered by whom?
Amrish Maharaj.
Haribol, very nice. Amrish Maharaj offered in all 9 forms. Each of them are potent by itself. What was the form Parikshit offered?
Hearing.
Shravanam.
That's what we thought. But Shravanam was later. Shravanam started a little later. When he was born, he was?
Smaranam.
Smaranam, very nice. Smaranam. Though Smaranam is not the first level. As we always say, we have to hear, only then we can do Smaran. But Krishna's darshan, right? Ikshatiyar. So that he had already darshan. So, right, he already had the audience. So why would he not think of it, right? In fact, Namnishta Prabhu used to tell, when we start chanting very pure, right? Occasionally we would have noticed, right? Not a regular feature, but occasionally we will see a trace of when we are chanting or in some half sleep or something, we'll be able to see for a few seconds or milliseconds, I would say, Krishna's form. It's not an imagination, right? It's an appearance. So this kind of a thing is absolutely rare, but for us, but then for a pure devotee, it's 24/7, which is why they're able to relish the bliss. Now, the first thing that will come is aha. For Arjuna, it is very easy. He's there present 24/7, 365 days into like little more than that with him. So for him to think of Krishna is not difficult at all. But if you see, after Krishna left, Krishna se damo pagate dharmanyana dibi saha kalo nashta drishta meva puranyarkudunodita. After Krishna left to his dham, what happens? What is special is he is able to get that power, right? What power he is getting after Krishna leaves to his dham, he is able to he is present in the form of Bhagavad Gita is preaching, which is his song representation, and literary incarnation, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. So he is present and he is communicating in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we will tell, okay, still he will have memory. Arjuna to memory hai na, because he has childhood memory of moving with Krishna. Parikshit has smaran because he saw Krishna face to face. Can you tell one person in Treta Yuga who never saw Krishna and fell in love? Now this question is to you. Is there anybody who never saw Krishna but fell in love with Krishna?
Treta Yuga or Dwapar Yuga?
Sorry, Dwapara Yuga. Sorry, Dwapara Yuga.
Rukmani.
Haribol, yes. Rukmani says that Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundaram Shrinvatam Te Nirvishyakanna Vivarer Haratangatapam Rupam Gunan Gunamatam Haritangatapam Nevishtaro Kanna Vivater Aparatam Me. So because Shrutva Gunan. Shrutva means here. Gunan means Guna means quality, right? I just heard your quality. Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Shrinva Tamte. Bhuvana Sundara means very, very handsome. Your quality, not just the look. Tamte. Nirvishya Khana Vivare Haretanga Tapam. Tapam means, the desire in me started coming up by just listening to you. So, Rukmini is already set a pre-example that she was willing to come out, run and marry Krishna just by listening about him. She has no idea of how he will be. Even her drawings are more as the skeletal drawings of Krishna. She's not seen him, right? So that's why she says Shristva Gunan. And very ironically also, after marriage and when they keep pulling each other's leg, Krishna will tease her and Leela Shakti will play a role and she will faint. And then Krishna gets very agitated, right? And after all that, on a very one of the casual calls, she'll be telling who said Shitva Agunan, all bad qualities you have, or robber. So she will also mock him much later, right? This is what some of the acharyas have spoken. But overall, her concept of falling in love with Krishna came only from Shrutva, listening, right? And from Narada, so which is from a pure devotee, which is the same platform which is created for Parikshit, which is why Parikshit listens from Sukha and becomes very purified. That's why they say Shrutva Gunanbhavana Sundaram Shrinvatam Te Nirvishya Karna Vivarer Haritangatapam Rupam Gunan Gunamatam. So Twai Achyuta Vishati Apatra Tamme. Twai Achyuta Vishati means such a beautiful, everything about Krishna is so nice. Like, but all that she came to know was only by listening. Nirvisha is above the mode. So all of them are only through just Shrinvatam. So we also need to have oral reception, oral audience, not just visual. Because I always used to tell, this I used to tell in Tamil class, if someone comes and knocks the door, what will happen? If I see Krishna, I will ask him, are you a part of any drama? Because that's a kind of love and belonging and connection I have. I will be more suspicious because I'm in Kaliyug rather than falling in love. So we were in Trisang and we were all thinking that we will go inside the water, Trisang, right? Triveni Sangha. So we thought, all our sins will go. Ramanishra Prabhu was telling us we have to go in 4 times. And then seeing some of the devotees, he said you have to go in 12 times. Okay, so in Yatra, many of them were telling, no, devotees only we should call for Yatra. Because Nameshwar Prabhu is always very kind-hearted and he will always never classify as devotee, non-devotee. He will call everybody, right? Even if someone claims there is no God, he welcomes. But then one thing which we noticed is classifying devotees, non-devotees are still okay, right? And I think Danish ma'am was talking to me on something. She said not only non-devotees, but imagine non-initiated devotees also trying to behave in a very silly manner. Something which was like non-tolerable. We noticed some of the initiated devotees who were just screaming, using abusive language, not behind, I'm telling, in public. Right now, irrespective of whether the person is at fault or not, we are not even getting into that part. There is something called basic office etiquette, which we maintain in office also. We don't scream before someone, right? I think it is a part of etiquette, the session where they tell you call them into the room and give them a blast. And if you want to appreciate someone, you appreciate in public. I'm not talking about spiritual norms. I'm talking about these are the material, moral norms. But that was reached. In fact, the person, when they were screaming, we knew that the person was totally innocent and was not responsible for that at all. But still, they were screaming. I also came to know, or rather, I was also experiencing a lot. All of this we heard. And what was sad was Namanishra Prabhu, many of them he himself heard. He witnessed so much that 2 evenings he was not able to come out alone. Right? He felt really so bad. There was one a devotee who was initiated. In fact, she was a backup for a lead because the lead could not make it. And that devotee actually had decided to stay in a particular room, right? Which I don't know who promised, but it was not given to her. So she went and knocked the room, claiming that this was a room which I should be in. And there was an 80-year-old Mataji and she told her to come out. And she was clueless. She just asked her to come out. Okay, and this drama was going on from 11 o'clock till 1:32. And then after all that, we got her into it. We got her another room in the same building, 2 floors. Another room, she refused to go. Same room, we told, okay, no problem. You also get in. 2 of you all can adjust because the rooms were very big. She denied. We got another room just 2 floors down, right? She still denied. There was another Prabhu who vacated the room, 2 of them, and gave a room. That also she denied. Finally, she said, this is my room and I will stay right here. And she got that Mataji out at 2 in the morning, 1:30 in the night. She asked that Mataji to go out. And finally, she entered into that room just with the say telling that the room next to that belongs to two Prabhus who are their friends and they all wanted to stay together. All I'm telling you is, see, the word Mai represents Ahankar, right? And all of this was happening in Prayagraj, where the deity, the temple was right down. The guest house was beautiful in Prayagraj. It was, I would rather not even use the word 5-star. I would call it not even 5-star. It was like a 7-star hotel. It was that classy. And the temple was 5 minutes, Shivcheta. The temple was on the ground floor, right? And the ground floor temple, and above that, you're telling, this is my room. That doesn't belong to us. It is booked by ISKCON Mangaluru. It is owned by them. And the whole thing is Krishna. All I'm telling you is, where is humanity? And we are talking about, we will go into Triveni Sangha, we will jump into Danish, ma'am, what is the other place where we all jump from the boat? Some Ram, I'm not, huh?
Asigata.
Hasi Ghat. Sorry, Hasi Ghat. We went for boating. We did not boating. We took a huge boat and we did Damodar Aarti. That was awesome. Imagine 150 of us in the boat. We did Damodar Aarti. One side we are burning sins. One side we have people abusing. One side we have the atmosphere becomes negative. Do you understand? So, irrespective of chanting, whether it's 16 rounds and so many things, like, how will anybody feel comfortable, right? You should feel, if just imagine, all of us have arguments in our house, no doubt, but when a guest comes in, we don't argue, right? We try and put up a very nice, sweet picture. Even our children, when we want to shout, we'll tell, hey, can you please do that? Normally we'll tell, hey, go do, right? So there is a difference in our pitch. Why? We're not acting. We just want to be genuinely putting up a decent picture before a guest so that the guest does not feel uncomfortable. Imagine the guest is coming and the child is shouting at the parent. The parents are telling, you idiot, and the husband is yelling, telling you have no sense to the wife, and wife tells, mind your own business. It's a very uncomfortable atmosphere. So why I'm telling you is, this is not accepted even at normal norms. But we see all this happening from, I'm talking about, I won't use the word senior devotee, because if the person I term as senior devotee should not do this, I would rather call it as seasoned devotees, which means they've been in the system for long. They are all initiated. In spite of that, we see this kind of behavior. Then tell me, won't the sins, that too, imagine Mayapur is the only dham where when you do sins, it does not get counted. Other dhams, I think Vrindavan, positives are multiplied, negatives are multiplied. Same way, there are many dhams where your sins actually gets multiplied, or at least it's equal. It's not nullified. So one side you're getting into Yamuna, one side you're seeing Yamuna Aarti, and one side you're behaving in this fashion, right? Can you imagine how toxic the atmosphere is? And also, I still remember the Mataji, along with this, Mataji never had regret next day also. See, and I remember asking Pran Chaitanya Prabhu a question on a day. He said, people will feel bad, you should go and apologize. I said, Prabhu, what if they... He said, no, definitely the person will know that he's making a mistake, he or she. But this Mataji never knew they was making a mistake. Another Prabhuji who yelled never knew. But there was another Mataji who was by her side who came and told, I was feeling very bad, but I could do nothing, which also is a mistake. Because I think in Kali Yuga, it is mentioned that this is a part of the Garuda Shastra, which says that people are half blind. Half blind means we all come with glasses, right? Because Anid, or which is other, we have not questioned, which is why we are all coming with power in our eye. Power means not powerful eye, I mean power with glasses. Because somebody who is your fellow devotee is making a mistake, the least you can do is to tell the devotee, please don't do. Rather, to be a part of that and tell that I'm witness, I'm so helpless. You're not a child. All of you are devotees. You must try and make an effort to explain. And today I'm telling in this forum, it doesn't matter. You should obviously not shout. You should be open to explain. You should be open to accept. And that's the most important thing. We spend all that time. Do we want to be kamsas? Right? Talking, bitching, fighting, right? And the reason I'm taking a detour into this is because all of this, one side we are doing, one side we are undoing, right? So your positives and negatives don't get nullified. Negativity, Namnishta Prabhu always says, just as positivity has a lot of power, negativity also has power. But to counter all this, on the last day in the mandir, the Kirtan, I think Namnishta Prabhu gave a beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam speech. Prior to that, we had Kirtan. The floor was amazing. It was all vibrating. It was like literally vibrating. Though the previous night, none of us slept. But it was just vibrating so much that Prayagraj ISKCON temple, they came and told, it's a lovely thing. That was one thing which was very nice, because to get that kind of feel, and all of us enjoyed. We were like all like dancing, jumping, and in the name of Kirtan. I was telling my daughter was telling, like, I took my mom. She was telling like, my grandma, should be walking a lot. She will be struggling. I said, end of the day, she enjoyed. So what do we do in ISKCON? We sing, we eat prasad, we enjoy. This is what we do. Of course, some of us fight also. That's a different thing. But largely, we enjoy, we relish. That's exactly what somebody will do in whatever you call, right? A holiday abroad or a boat. We did boating. We went into swimming. We jumped into sacred waters. I think we did a lot of that. We did Damodar Ashtakam in a boat. We saw Ganga Aarti from a boat. which normally we won't afford. The cost of the boat which was booked was close to 500,000. So imagine we would never be able to do that. It was in a prime locality, and we saw that we did Damodar Ashtakam in the middle of, river, Ganges River, right? Ganga Aarti, yeah, Ganges River. So can you imagine all of that happening? Was mind blowing.
In the cruise.
Sorry,
Cruise, yeah.
Cruise ship. We did cruise ship also, Mataji. We did that small catamaran boat also. Everything we have done. Right. But what I'm trying to tell is, and we ate a lot also. We ate prasad, which was amazing prasad. So everything we have done, we did kirtan, we danced, we jumped, and there's absolutely no restriction in the way you jump also, right? There is something called ballroom where you have to put 2 steps like this, 2 steps like this and all that. In ISKCON, there are no restriction. You dance the way you want. Nobody mocks you. Nobody even makes fun of you. You can sing. I have sung, right? I still remember, my daughter is like, her eyes are popped out when I said I sing, because she's right here. Yeah. So in the Trisengi, we were giving chance for everyone to sing. And after everyone got wet, though I never had the patience to change. I just came as it is. Before going to Venu, right? Venu Madhava, since most of them were busy getting themselves changed, we were like in the mic, we were singing throughout the kirtan back from the Trisangi till our bus. So nobody.
Bindu Madhavan.
Bindu Madhav, not Venu Madhav, Bindu Madhav. Thank you, Madhavi. So Bindu Madhav, fully we were singing. It's all Venu Madhav, Bindu Madhav, all same, but there they call it as Bindu Madhav. But no, sorry, Mataji, there they call it as Veni Madhav, not Bindu Madhav.
Veni Madhav in
Veni Madhav.
and Varanasi it is Bindu Madhav.
So we are talking about Varanasi. We're not talking about Varanasi, we are talking about Prayagraj. It is, yeah. We're talking about Prayagraj. It is called, because there we had the same doubt. In my wall group also I mentioned as Bindu Madhav. They said no, Bindu Madhav. Then Sundar Madhav is all different places. And Prayagraj, it is specifically called Veni Madhav. And the temple where we stay at, right? The ISKCON Prayagraj is also called Veni Madhav. And so beautifully this had happened. Just 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. You're on mute, I think.
2 minutes. Hare Krishna. Sorry about it. I was in 2 minutes. I'll just shift the system. Hare Krishna. So I think typically, so these are the various things which we are experiencing. Now back to Bindu Madhav, and see, I'm still in the yatra, just not Safi. So this is how, by hearing, right? Vibrations are so powerful, and that is why Namnishra Prabhu has been telling the next yatra we should focus more on Kirtan. So officially we will have the dates sometime between Jan 19th till Jan 23rd. We will have what's called the Sri Rangam Kshetra, which will cover Trichy 2 days, that is Sri Rangam, Kumbakonam 2 days, and 1 more day Rameshwaram, tentative, but mostly will get finalized. These are talking about Divya Desams, which means that spiritually, these are called, like we have 4 dhams, which we follow in our Sampradaya. Same way we talk about 108 dhams in the next, by the Ramanuja Sampradaya. So that is what we will be covering in our next yatra. So I take this opportunity to humbly invite all of you all here, and it will be organized by the Tamil team. But it will be co-partnered by all the languages. So every language will take a particular role, a particular profile or a task, which we will be doing. But overall, this is what it is. So I would request all of you all to come, because it will be a nice opportunity to, because we are offline platform, right? No, sorry, not offline, online platform. So we all get to see, not even see. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I've even met Usha Mataji ever, but I'm just giving that as an example. But most of the time, it's always through Zoom. All of you all here. I managed to meet Ashok Sharma Prabhu in Prayagraj, not Prayagraj, Prayag. It was such a nice feeling when Prabhu came and introduced himself. I did not know that he is a part of Bakthi Vaibhav. I mean, at least the name I could not relate. Face I definitely could not relate because most of you all don't keep your videos on here. So why I'm saying is these are all nice satsangs for all of us to come connect and do. Of course, there were a lot of devotees from this group who were there. Guna was there. Danishri ma'am was here. I had Prakash Parekh Prabhu. Ratna Mataji was there, and quite a few were here. Were there as well. So my request is try and see if you can come over for all this and have a lot of fun. Yeah. So let's move to the next one. Hare Krishna. Can someone read?
Vichakshanaaya sharano pashantanat.
Vichakshanaaya charanopasadanat.
Sangam vyudhasyo bhayo yatha antar atmanah.
Sangam vyudhasyo bhayato antaratmanah.
Vindantihi brahmagatim gata klamas.
Vindantihi brahmagatim gata klamas.
Tasmai subhadra sraveshe namo namaha.
Tasmai subhadra sravase namo namaha.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bakthi Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Let me offer my respectful obeisances again and again unto all the auspicious Lord Shri Krishna, the highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, all are relieved of all attachment to present and future existence, and without difficulty progress towards spiritual existence. Purport. Lord Shri Krishna has repeatedly instructed Arjuna, or for that matter everyone concerned with becoming his unalloyed devotee. In the last phase of his incarnation in Bhagavad Gita 18.64 to 66, he instructed most confidentially as follows: Sarva guhyatamam bhuya shunume paramam vachah ishtosmi me dridam iti tato vakshyami he hitam manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru namyevai yashyasi satyam me satyam te parityane priyosmi me sarvadharmam parityajna mamekam sharanam vraja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshakshyami ma chucha. My dear Arjuna, you are very dear to me, and therefore only for your good I will disclose the most secret part of my instructions. It is simply this: become a pure devotee of mine and give yourself unto me only, and I promise you full spiritual existence, by which you may gain the eternal right of transcendental loving service unto me. Just give up all other ways of religiosity and exclusively surrender unto me, and believe that I will protect you from your sinful acts and I shall deliver you. Don't worry anymore. Persons who are intelligent take serious notice of this last instruction of the Lord. Knowledge of the self is the first step in spiritual realization, which is called confidential knowledge. And a step further is the God realization, which is called more confidential knowledge. The culmination of the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is God realization. And when one attains this stage of God realization, he naturally, voluntarily becomes a devotee of the Lord to render him loving transcendental service. This devotional service to the Lord is always based on the law of God and is distinct from the nature of routine service as prescribed in Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Dhyana Yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are different instructions for such men of different categories, and there are various descriptions for Varnashrama Dharma, Sannyasa Dharma, Yati Dharma, the renounced order of life, controlling the senses, meditation, perfection of mystic paths, etc. But one who fully surrenders unto the Lord to render service unto him out of spontaneous love for him factually assimilates the essence of all knowledge described in the Vedas. One who adopts this method very skillfully attains perfection of life at once. And this perfection of human life is called as Brahmagati, or the progressive march in spiritual existence. initiated by Srila Jiva Goswami on the basics of Vedic assurances. Brahmagati means to attain a spiritual form as good as that of the Lord. And in that form, the liberated living being eternally lives on one of the spiritual planets situated in the spiritual sky. Attainment of this perfection of life is easily available to a pure devotee of the Lord without his undergoing any difficult method of perfection. Such a devotional service is full of kirtanam, smaranam, ikshanam, etc., as mentioned in the previous word. One must therefore adopt the simple way of devotional life in order to attain the highest perfection available in any category of the human form of life in any part of the world. When Lord Brahma met Lord Krishna as a playful child at Vrindavana, he offered his prayers in which he said, Shreya Shritim Bhaktim Yudashyate Vibho Klishyanti he Kevala Bodhya Labhyate Tesham Asho Kleshala Yeva Shishyate Nanyat Yata Stula Tushavagathinam. Bhagavatam 10.14.4. Bhakti Yoga is the highest quality of perfection to be achieved by the intelligent person in lieu of performing a large quantity of spiritual activities. The example cited here is appropriate. A handful of real paddy is more valuable than heaps of paddy skins without any substance within. Similarly, one should not be attracted by the jugglery of karma kanda or jnana kanda or even the gymnastic performances of yoga, but skillfully should take to the simple performances of kirtanam, smaranam, etc. under a bona fide spiritual master and without any difficulty attain the highest perfection. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So the most important point which is highlighted here again is the Navagraha Bhakti and spiritual master, right? Tadviti pranipratena paniprasnena sevaya upadrishnante te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. The most, why I'm highlighting this is, I remember when Namnishta Prabhu was speaking, one thing he never said this person is right, he never said this person is stupid, or he never said, but one thing which he pointed out is this person is very obedient. Whenever he noticed a person, right? Because when a particular fault was identified to that person, he never argued, right? Even though he would have done mistakes or so. So the reason I'm trying to tell is, that is exactly what we should learn is, whatever the spiritual master tells, sadhu, shastra, these words should be followed so much, because this is the only way we can differentiate, right? What differentiates one from a devotee and a non-devotee? How do we differentiate a devotee and a non-devotee? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So how do you differentiate devotee and non-devotee? What is the classification? What is the rule?
Devotee is obedient to the spiritual master and the non-devotee doesn't care for it. Doesn't have one actually.
That is right. Non-devotee does not have one. Other than that, but how do you, see, spiritual master is far, right? So for that matter, Priyadarshini Mataji, you and me were probably called as at least devotees few years back also, no? So what differentiates? Spiritual mastery is definitely there, but on what basis? One point what she said is valid, but otherwise, what is the basic classification?
Devotees surrender.
Devotees, we also don't surrender, Prabhu.
But
As per
non-devotees don't have any such aspects. They depend completely on their senses.
Yeah, correct. Non-devotees completely depend on senses. Fine, they don't surrender.
So
But unfortunately, we are also still on our senses, so we still can't be categorized as non-devotee, right? So basically,
no, we are devotees at some time, and sometimes we still depend on the senses. So we don't actually dedicate our senses to the Lord. So that mistakes we many times at that time we become non-devotees. So,
the Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Devotees are the one who knows that he is not the body, he is the soul. Non-devotees believe that their body is what they are.
Very nice. This is one more point. Whatever you all are telling is perfect. Devotee is the one who understands I'm not the body, whereas non-devotee only touches. All is right, but one line, if you have to tell this is asura, how do you classify?
Devotees serve the Lord for his satisfaction.
Sorry, Lalita Mataji?
Yeah, devotees serve the Lord for his satisfaction, whereas non-devotees do it for their own pleasure. For their own...
That is also nice. So non-devotees also do for their own pleasure. So they Upasana Kanda. What Lalita Mataji is telling is like they are still devotee, but categorized as pious devotees, like how Prabhu told, no, karma kandis and pure devotee, where they do only Upasana worship because they have a shopping list. Right, but they believe they are also devotees. But broadly, I think Lalita Mataji's answer is very close to one point.
Compassion.
Devotees believe that
devotees have compassion, non-devotees have no compassion.
But Prabhu, I know a lot of non-devotees and atheists who are very, very compassionate. More than the so-called devotees.
Devotees believe that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and non-devotees do not believe.
Agreed. Devotees don't believe, and Prabhu's point is also right. Compassion is there, and the point is, the difference is that the compassion won't last if the person is a non-devotee. So all points are correct, but the one sole factor which differentiates a devotee and a non-devotee is Sadhu Sastra. I think Sadhu Priyadarshini Mataji pointed out, and Lalita Mataji brought in very closely. People follow Upasana Kanda. They don't call them devotees because devotee means service, right? So anyone who follows the Shastra is a devotee. Anyone who does not follow a Shastra is a non-devotee. I will give you an example. Like I'm taking Lalita Mataji's point. There will be a lot of people who literally go to temple more number of times than a devotee, right? And if you see, we have Madhavendra Puri prayer who says that, hey, Sandhya, I can't pray to you. Oh, I can't take bath. Which means that he's breaching the principles of the so-called, deity worship devotees. Deity worship, I will call not even deity, Devata worship devotee. But he is a very, very pure devotee, right? His devotional service is on power with Radha Rani and Sri Krishna Chaitanya. That is where Madhavendra Puri's devotion is compared to. But the reason I'm telling all this is because end of the day, he is sticking on to the core principle that Krishna is everything. That means he's following the sadhu and the shastra strictly to the T. But many devotees, you will notice, they will tell that according to me, I will do what I feel. According to me, I don't feel, this is wrong. Why according to you? According to me, so many things I will not feel. According to me, I will feel killing two people is also not wrong. See, I may feel whatever I want, right? But is that the authority? See, Manusmriti talks about how you should live a life or lead a life. But proper Shastras, all Shastras talk about a process which is to be followed. Do's and don'ts. And these are ground rules. So anyone who follows Shastra will be a devotee. Anyone who is going against the Shastra is a non-devotee. Most of the time people say, I am following Shastra, but they don't do any devotional work. They've not even opened Bhagavad Gita. I remember Ratna Gai Mataji very beautifully telling, there was a devotee who, she said she has a Bhagavad Gita. She does Mangalati before, she's in her hospital, rather in her room, in her office. She does Mangalarti, and when a devotee comes and asks what is in Bhagavad Gita, she opens the chapter and tells, 1 minute, Prabhu, let me finish, and then she will make them read that chapter of Bhagavad Gita or that particular verse, and they'll feel happy, right? So indirectly, she's making the person understand that reading Shastra is devotional service and the only devotional service. You will tell, no, Mataji, how Mataji? Hearing, chanting, all that is also devotional service because they are as per Shastra. Right? So, end of the day, following Shastra, non-following Shastra divides one as a devotee and a non-devotee. Hare Krishna. Yes, Murthy Prabhu, please go ahead.
Mataji, what is meant exactly by, this thing? I'm little confused about this whole concept. Following the Shastra, we understand, Mataji. What is following Shastra? None of us have read Shastra. To the best of my knowledge, none of us have read the Shastras. Actually, what we understand is what people have told us about the Shastras. That is our understanding. So what does following the Shastra truly mean for people like all of us today?
Very beautiful question. Following Shastra, I never said is not listening to people. Most of the time what Prabhu told is, someone has said something and we do. That someone who has said something originally would have heard from someone who has read Shastra. That is what I'm trying to tell. When I say Shravanam, if it is as per the Shastra, then that is correct Shravanam. Which is why we are talking about Sadhu and Shastra, which means the Sadhu talks only what the Shastra talks. I am talking here as Rasarangini Radhika Devi Dasi, as a disciple of Jayapaduka Swami Maharaj, Guru Maharaj. His version is what I am speaking, who in turn is speaking the version of Srila Prabhupada, who in turn is talking the version of Brahma, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who in turn is talking Madhavendra Puri, who in turn is talking Madhavacharya, who in turn is talking Brahma's version. Brahma is in turn talking Krishna's version. This is called Parampara, which is exactly what you are talking, Prabhu. When I say following Shastra, need not be opening a book and reading. I never said reading Shastra. Who follows Shastra, I said. Following Shastra can be either by reading or by listening. Now the disconnect will come, I'll tell you how. Like my dad used to tell, we should not do any good activity on Tuesday. My aunt, because it's called Mangalvar, I think in Telugu it's Mangalvar, in North also is Mangalvar. Mangal means it's a good day. Now, we have another set of people, especially in Tamil Nadu, they don't do it on Tuesday because they feel it's a bad day. Whereas in Andhra, they even get married on Tuesday because they call it as an auspicious day. There is a disconnect in just a geographically different place. So this sort of gave me a confusion in my childhood. So what should I follow? When there is a disconnect, then you refer to Shastra. Very clearly the Shastra says, what is it? Savai Pumshan Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktar Adokshaja. Ahaituki apratiyata yatatma suprasidati, which means these things of this day not good to me, all that is there as per Veda Shastra. So we will follow. But above that, Paro Dharma is Bhakti Shastra, which is Krishna Shastra, which says anything to do devotional service is great. I'll give an example, you will understand better. Srila Prabhupada also had some challenges of these auspicious days and good days, which refer to Thursdays. So Thursday, you would normally refrain from doing any activity. However, if it is anything to do with Krishna's activity directly in terms of preaching mission or anything on Thursday, printing book, anything, he will go ahead and do. Because he said for Krishna, there is nothing which really matters because he is above all. Right? And the reason I am trying to bring this to you is very clear, is because following Shastra, when I said, is not taking the book, reading Shastra. Hare Krishna, sorry. It means that you follow the process of Shastra, right? So it can be said by your mother, as long as she's telling what is there in Shastra, you please follow. She becomes your guru. But the reason we have someone in the line of succession is because they will know exactly what the Shastras have said and they are following. For that matter, we have started reading Shastra, but we would have probably been devotees earlier too. But there are a lot of things which have disconnected. How many of you all have felt what we did earlier and now? There are things which we need to change in our practice of spirituality. 5 years back, what I practiced in spirituality and now I will change. How many of you all feel that? It can be a positive thing. Am I the only one? Nobody with me. Yes.
It all depends on the knowledge and the experience you are having. Because of that, change will always be there. Change is always an aspect of life.
That's right. So we are changing now towards the Shastra and Sadhu. You understand? Like change is an aspect. For example, Prasadam. At least largely South, we never used to eat Prasadam as soon as someone gives. We used to go and keep it before the deity. Maybe if it's in the morning, we'll go have shower, take bath, and then only eat. Now, Sri Krishna Chaitanya says that Prasadam can be had even from a dog's mouth. Right? Now, two mistakes which we have done is we have not honored the Prasadam, which itself is Lord, right? Maha Prasade Govinde Nama Brahmana Vaishve Swalpa Vritam Rajan Vishwasho Naiva Jayate. We are not following. Second is we are keeping the Prasadam, which is already offered to God before our deity, which also is an aparat. Right? Because that is already offered. Then how can I keep it before my deity? These are the two mistakes which I noticed and I corrected. There are
I'm not sure whether these are mistakes, frankly speaking. These are not really a mistake, which is really something which has a major impact. So I mean, it's a minor misaberration, and there is a misaberration and a mistake. There's a major difference, isn't it, Mataji? I mean, both of them. I mean, what you have done is lack of knowledge, and lack of knowledge is not a mistake. Okay, Maya is lack of knowledge, and that is infinite. It's not because you never knew about it. The moment you know it, you corrected it. That is normal, right? So I don't think it's a mistake, but yeah, that's my opinion.
No, sure.
Maybe it's
No, totally fine. Thank you. But what I'm telling you is I just gave a small example of how we can correct and go forward. It could be something else, like let's take Brigari. Brigari used to kill animals in a very, killing animal is one half. The second half is in a very painful, traumatic way, which is definitely not accepted, right? But why did that happen? Because he did not even realize it was wrong. Now, can we call it? It's not a mistake. No, not knowing is also a mistake, right? So now Mrihari now quickly changed. So what I'm telling, based on what, not that he suddenly got into intelligence, he started reading book. No, he did sadhu and shastra. So as per what the sadhu told, and what is sadhu told, based on shastra only, sadhu has told. He's following that. So which is something which we need to do. So I just gave Prasadam as one example. Maybe others will have other example. Like somebody would be a strong Shiva worshipper who may not know who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now after understanding Bhagavad Gita, now they understand the position of Devatas. Yanti Devavrata Deva Pritriyanti Pritrivataha Bhutani Yanji Bhutegno Yanti Madhyajinopi Mam. We went to Kashi, right? Namnishta Prabhu, Sarvanath Prabhu, right? He does the puja. Myself and my mom were in one auto, and we were roaming on that day throughout. All of us were taking that small autos because the gullies were small. At that time, I think inside the Kashi Vishwanath temple, we went and saw, we saw Krishna. There was, Krishna's Vigraha. We saw, and Namnishta Prabhu missed it. He said, hey, I'll go again. He ran, went and saw. After that, there was a Shiva temple, and we prayed, and Namnishta Prabhu was telling how we should respect Devatas. In spite of we being Vaishnavites, the Devatas are also Vishnu worshippers. So we have to respect. So I remember my mom still telling, yeah, but when I look at Krishna or Vishnu or Mahavishnu, emotions are there. But when I meet Shiva, I don't. He said, because from childhood, you don't have the connect. Right. So people, whereas if you see people over there, they were telling, Hare Mahadeva, and they were all like so vibrant. Why? Because all through their life, they have been thinking him, connecting to him. And I'm not telling it's wrong. But today, if you're thinking him, connecting to him, you connect to him as a devotee of Krishna. We don't insult Devatas, but we connect them with them. So there was one Mataji who came when Sarvanath Prabhu and me were actually praying. She came and told all gods are one. We never took class because we knew that she will not be, neither we had time, nor will she have the frame of mind to understand, right? So we just smiled and we just moved off from there. But I'm just telling you, but a lot of people will have these perceptions. Why? Because you don't understand. Right. And I still have a client who was telling me, who was more of an atheist, who told that, hey, Radhika, you're enjoying, tell me, what is it you get out of it? I only told one thing. I said, you can't explain an air condition when you're in a hot sun unless you call the person and push them into an AC room and tell this is AC. How much ever I talk about an air condition, the person will not understand. So anyone who needs to experience something, like how Ratna Mataji had brought him, told you read. Even a single reading may not help, but it at least works to start off with. Same way, one has to be into it to go to the next level. And therefore, we did exactly the same stuff here, where you should actually try and tell them, boss, you come. You start reading it and we will take it to the next level. So the most important thing is, if anybody, we don't know the Shastra, we won't know who's big, who's small. I did not know myself. I was thinking Vishnu, we were Vaishnavites, so we thought Vishnu is the highest. I never knew Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Though I like Krishna, it was very easy. I think I still remember my initiation form, right? I think Daneshri ma'am will remember this very well. There was a question, why do you accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? My answer was, I like Krishna. I already like Krishna very much. So when you said he's Supreme Personality of Godhead, I'll go with the flow and I love it. It's like somebody trying to tell my daughter is the best child in the school. I will take it because that's my daughter. I love it. I love her. So I will go with it. I will not question why my daughter is top or not. It's not my interest because it's going in line with my heart. Same way, when you tell Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, since I already like Krishna, it is matching with my heart. I will accept. Then ma'am told, don't give this answer. Tau initiation, be serious. My answer still stayed. I didn't remove that. But then I added the philosophical reasons which are there in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So now if someone asks me, if I tell the reason, Prabhu, I love Krishna, so he's Supreme Personality of Godhead, what will tell? Mata, you love Krishna, you keep him. Why are you involving me? I love Indra. right? So I will keep him as a supreme personality of Godhead. Then what I can quote? I need to tell, no Prabhu, ete chamsa kala pumsha krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam vidunante yuge yuge was written by whom? Was written by whom? Where did we read this? Was written by whom?
1:3:28.
Ah, excellent. By written by whom, Prabhu? Very nice. Third, it's coming in the first canto, third chapter, 28th verse. Perfect. Which says that Krishna is a Swayam Bhagavan. But it was written by whom? Why so much doubt?
Yeah, Vyasadeva.
It's an emperor verse.
Written by Vyasa. It was said by Vyasa. Who wrote it? It was narrated by Vyasa, but who wrote it?
Krishna himself.
Krishna himself. Yeah.
Huh?
He himself.
He himself.
Yeah, he wrote, but somebody wrote. Who did the paperwork for him?
Ganesha.
Ganesha, not Ganesha.
Ganeshi. And what was the understanding with which Ganeshji wrote? What was the agreement for them?
No resisting.
Vyasadeva said that he need to understand whatever he writes before.
Very nice. He needs to understand. And if he had a contradictory view, and if he felt that Lord Shiva or Brahma or Indra was the supreme personality, he would have not continued. Right? And so the Srimad Bhagavatam or the scriptures were made tough because Ganesha had a rule. He said, I will write fast and you don't pause. I will continuously write. And Vyasa had a sub condition to it, telling that you will not write if you don't understand. So both made it challenging to each other, tough so that he could write relatively slowly, and he had to understand so that everything he says is also double testified, right? So that is what is testimony. That is what Krishna also, Arjuna also says, no? Param Brahma, Parandama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vijumam. Agreed. Arjuna is a friend, he will tell like that only. Austan Rishe Sarve Devashir Naradar Tata Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Cheva Bhavishime. It is also said that way. So we are having both of these. It's extreme. Rohini Mataji, are you there? She's not there. Okay, let me just check if she sent an attendance link. Meanwhile, I'll send. So these are the things which are very clearly mentioned by mentioned. So therefore, coming back to the most important point, Vyasa spoke, but then it was written by our Ganesha. So this certifies and sanctifies this. So very clearly, now quickly, if you are summarizing 12 to 18, he's offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord and who accepts the three modes, right? Creation and all of that. And Krishna is inconceivable. And also that he grants everything. If he wants liberation, he gives liberation. He stops advancement of non-devotees like Kamsa, Hiranyakashipu and all, and gives specific destination to transcendentalists. You saw my amazing chart, which I did know, that white note. As per what you wish, he will give. Also, he gives chance to, he is born as an associate of Yadu, and also removes all the problems they had with non-devotees. And for all those who are, he is a creator of both material and the spiritual world. Param, Apara, both are by him only. And this is created by his unlimited power. And it is very auspicious, that is Lord Krishna, right? So therefore, how we can do by thinking of him, glorifying of the Navagraha, of the Navavidha Bhakti. Anyone is purifying, all of them are very powerful that they can clean the sins and sins. That is why Hari is not only stealer of the heart, but also stealer of the sins. That is why they use the word Haribol. So therefore, in all auspicious, Lord Krishna, right, for everybody what he does. So that we will see in the verse 16. So we will pause with this. This is whatever we did right now is verse 15, right? So we'll pause. I think we are almost done. We will take it up from the next class. Just give me a second. Meanwhile, I will check for the attendance sheet. Is there any doubts you all have?
We finished up to 16, Mataji.
We finished up to 16. So we also, that is today. And we also saw like how various things, like how like for Jnanis, how they do, like they focus on the Brahmajyoti. For devotees, they focus on the personality of Godhead by removing the the so-called Brahman effulgence, and that is how they want. And we have 2 more in this particular course, which we will continue next week. And also the Jnanis, what they do is they surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna, right? So by surrendering to the lotus feet of the Krishna, automatically their attachments go. We saw this also, right? The not so advanced or the attached Jnanis focus on the Virat Rupa, and they go through Shushumara Chakra, they go one after the other and reach the height. Whereas the completely attached, unattached yogi who is at the higher stage focus on the Paramatma within the heart, and he goes for a direct promotion to the Brahma Loka. And then he goes and joins the Brahma Jyoti. In case, for all this, a devotional effect is required. But in case it is not so spiritual, then he will probably come back to the material world, because he needs variety and he will get bored. Unfortunately, I don't have, just one second. Hare Krishna. You have any doubts?
Maybe you can put the link in the chat.
I don't have the link as yet. Yeah.
No, not in the chat, but in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, sure. I'm just asking Rohini Mataji. That's why I asked for Rohini Mataji. Usually she promptly sends. I think the week prior also she missed out, right? Many were talking about backup exam and the exam. Both of that we'll have along with the exam on 2 days. And we'll take it forward, right? So with this, we'll end the session. Vancha kalpadarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantavoti Vaishnav Vijay Srila Prabhupada Vijay Namacharya Haridas Thakur Vijay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, what about the shloka exam?
We'll have it next week, Mataji. Good you told.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.